Cloudy early evening in downtown Cincinnati. We welcome you to Great American Ballpark. There will be baseball tonight. The San Diego Padres in town for the first of 4 to take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jeff Pecoro, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. And certainly what happened here in Cincinnati today, Chris, it's the kind of thing you hear about, you read about that happens in other places. And today we find that out firsthand in Cincinnati. A tragic, very dark day. And we certainly send our thoughts and prayers to all those who lost family, loved ones, or friends in downtown Cincinnati earlier today.
We do indeed, Tom. My heart goes out to each and every one of those families, and we thank those first responders, the Cincinnati Police Department, for acting so fearlessly and so bravely in the face of dangers today and saving many more lives.
We'll be talking about it from time to time throughout the rest of the night, but perhaps at least for a little while, we can step away from thinking about it all day long. We are going to have a baseball game here tonight, secondary, of course, to everything in our great city that transpired today. By Chevy, check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. Luis Castillo getting the ball here tonight, coming off an outstanding effort. His last start, that's when the team, you may remember, was in St. Louis. 6 2/3 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball, fanning a season-high 11.
Well, it gives you a glimpse of what he can do. You're hoping that he's able to follow that up with another gem here tonight and get on some kind of a trend. Against the Cardinals, though, his last time out, I mean, he was doing nothing but filling up the strike zone. He punched out 11 when it was all said and done with 6 2/3. I think he easily could have gone 8 innings in that ball game. He was so dominant. But let's hope he's got the same approach, being aggressive in the zone here tonight.
Our Elk and Elk storyline. Look at the numbers for Castillo going back to the beginning of July. That ERA sparkling at 3.2, and look at the strikeout to walk ratio, better than 5 to 1. And, of course, the most important number there at the bottom, the Reds have won 6 of those 10 games. When we come back, the Reds and the Padres in the first of 4 from Great American Ballpark. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Hey there, Reds fans. I'm Local 12 News meteorologist John Gum. I'm hopeful we get this one in tonight, but there will be some scattered storms roaming the area around the ballpark, especially early in this one. Temperatures will fall out of the 80s into the upper 70s with some scattered storms around. But again, as the game goes on, that rain chance will drop. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
We already had some of the wet stuff about an hour ago, and it just recently stopped. They removed the tarp. And for those in attendance, lineup cards being exchanged. Of course, the former big slugger Mark McGuire. And taking a look at Jim Riggleman, the Reds manager, as these two teams are just about set to go here. And the Reds are taking the field with the young right-hander Luis Castillo towing the rubber for the 28th start of this 2018 season.
Well, he's only 25 years old, but I think that anybody that has followed this team realizes that there are 2 starters so far that have pitched for the Reds this summer that have basically cemented themselves into the rotation in 2019. Castillo is one of those, and of course, Anthony DeSclafani being the other. But Castillo is so exciting because if you talk to members of the other team when they face him, even on days when he doesn't have his greatest outing, they think, man, this guy's upside is really something else. And he began to reach that, I think, especially his last time out against the Cardinals with 11 strikeouts in just 6+ innings. Throwing a lot of strikes, not walking very many batters. That shows me that he's getting more and more confidence as the season wears on.
San Diego Padres come in 55 up and 86 down. They are managed by the Lexington, Kentucky native Andy Green. And let's take a look at his starting lineup tonight. Jankowski in center field. Urias, the second baseman. They're very excited about him, and Hunter Renfroe out in left. Former Royal Eric Hosmer at first. Will Myers making the move over to third. And Franmil Reyes red hot in right field. Mejia, his first start since being brought up from the minor leagues. Freddie Galvis, longtime Philly turned Padre. And Eric Lauer is on the mound, 5 up and 7 down. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively here tonight, presented by Ford. We'll go with Hamilton at center, flanked by Urban and Schebler. A rare day off for Scooter Gennett. Nielsen Herrera making just his 5th start of the year at second base. And Tucker Barnhart hanging the sides. Padres had a rare Wednesday off yesterday. They lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks in Phoenix 6-0 on Tuesday. So here we go tonight. First pitch swinging. Travis Jankowski fouls it away, strike one. And this is another way.
Is the Padres version of Billy Hamilton. You know, he doesn't run as fast, but he's very fleet-footed in the outfield, has 21 stolen bases this year. On-base percentage right around .333 so far this year for Jankowski.
3 home runs, 16 batted in, but as Chris mentioned, that's really not his game. It's getting on to try and make it happen with his legs, and that just missed the outside corner. Sam Holbrook calls the balls and strikes. DJ Rayburn at first. Chris Segal out at second base, and Alfonso Marquez at third. Holbrook is the crew chief as a home plate umpire tonight.
Well, you can see what Jankowski's trying to do is basically fight the ball off, hit it to left field. He knows that Castillo's got a good changeup, and if you're out there trying to catch up with the fastball, that's when you get fooled by the changeup. Stay back and try to hit everything the other way.
Gone swinging to begin the game is Jankowski, and that's the way it gets started for Castillo.
Good rotation, nice little movement there. It looked like a fastball coming out of his hand. We're going to see a few of those tonight if Castillo's on his game.
Luis Urias. 6 hits in his first 31 at bats, including a home run, a double, and a couple of runs batted in. In there, strike one. Got his first major league home run over the weekend in Colorado on Friday night. And not only the 6 hits, he's also walked 3 times, been hit by a pitch. So in his first 35 plate appearances in the big leagues, he's been on base 10 times.
He's a young guy. He's only 21 years old. The Padres signed him as an international free agent from Mexico when he was 17 years old, and gets his first taste of AAA and the big leagues here in 2018.
Reds coming off the 2-4 road trip. Of course, it started on a very high note, winning 2 of 3 in St. Louis at Busch Stadium, but then getting swept the last 3 days in Pittsburgh. And right now in the midst of a 4-12 stretch against the National League Central that came to an end officially yesterday. Back-to-back strikeouts by Castillo to start the ball game.
He got one on a changeup, his first batter, Jankowski, and Urias goes down on a fastball. 98. Boy, that ball's in the glove by the time he's able to pull the trigger. You know, what makes Castillo so effective with that is that his delivery just doesn't look like a guy that is throwing 98 miles an hour. Just nice and easy and explosive.
Renfroe coming off a monster month of August. Just a couple of days ago, he had a career high 11-game hitting streak come to an end. He hit .348 during the stretch. And it's down to the third baseman, Suarez. A 1-2-3 start for Castillo. The Reds coming up when we return. Top half for Luis Castillo, and the way that Jim Riggleman fills up that lineup card reads as follows: Hamilton, Peraza, Votto to start it, Suarez in a cleanup spot, and even 100 runs batted in. Irvin in left, Schebler in right, a latter third of Herrera playing for Scooter Gennett, Tucker Barnhart, and Luis Castillo. A native of the Buckeye State is Eric Lauer, left-hander, 22, from Elyria, Ohio. In fact, just turned 23 recently.
A couple of years ago, he was pitching for Kent State in his third year of an outstanding college career, where he won 28 ball games. Make it 23. He was 23-10 for Kent State, and turned that into being a #1 pick in 2016 for the Padres, already in the major leagues. Not too many players from that 2016 draft here at the big league level.
Boy, what a year it was in 2016 pitching for Kent State. This young man was the Collegiate Baseball National Player of the Year, the College Baseball Hall of Fame Pitcher of the Year, was a Golden Spikes Award semi-finalist. His ERA that year was 0.69, and to put that into perspective, that was the lowest ERA in college baseball in more than 30 years.
Well, as much as a whirlwind that must have been there for Lauer as a college player, he went on in 2016 as a Padres minor league pitcher to have 3 different stops that year. They pitched him, he dominated. They pitched him somewhere else, he dominated, and they kept moving him up.
Soft ground ball cut off by Myers, and he throws out the speedy Hamilton to begin the first inning. We look at San Diego on defense, a very erratic bunch. Some nights they look very good, other nights not so much. Jankowski in center, flanked by Renfroe and the youngster Reyes. Myers making the move over to third base. That's been up and down. Galva steady at short. Urias and Hosmer on the right side, and Mejia's first start as a Padre here tonight. Jose Peraza, 284, 10 home runs, clubbed his 10th of the year in Pittsburgh. He has 46 runs batted in. Went 4 for 20 on that 6-game road trip off the inside corner. Peraza joining by clubbing 10 home runs some of the biggest names in Reds history for shortstops at 24 years or younger to reach double digits in home runs. One being Suarez when he was playing over there 4 years ago. Barry Larkin did it twice, and the great Leo Cardenas in 1962. Very impressive 3 games. Reds dropped 2 of the 3 in San Diego very, very early this season. And in fact, in one of those games, it was Lauer who picked up his 2nd career victory in his first career start against the Reds. 5 innings of 1-run baseball and an 8-2 decision.
Yeah, in that ball game, it was kind of interesting, really, because it was a combination of fastballs and curveballs that did the Reds in that day.
Under the glove of Myers, hit very hard down the third base line. Peraza trying for second base. Here comes a throw, and he will be tagged out at second base. Hanging on to the baseball is Urias.
Well, Renfroe got to that ball and made a nice play to get Peraza at second base. Peraza's thinking double. I mean, the grass is wet. It rained here before the ball game today, but that one hopper right on the money. And Urias way out in front of the bag right there, making sure that Peraza doesn't get anywhere close with a little trick slide.
So 2 down in the inning after the single by Peraza, and a breaking ball to Joey Votto, misses low and outside. Votto 7 hits and 21 at bats on the road trip. Had a double, couple of runs batted in, walked 5 times. And Joey, since coming off the disabled list, has been a .269 batter. That's in 7 games, tonight being the 8th. Three balls and a strike on Joey. And there's a 5-pitch walk, so Votto aboard with 2 away, and that'll continue the inning for Eugenio Suarez. Suarez 5 hits, 5 runs batted in on the road trip, and an even 100 runs batted in on this season. And of course, you always have to remember that going all the way back to the first weekend of the season on the road, the first road trip of the year, back in April, he fractured that right thumb when he was hit by a pitch. So he's reached 100 despite missing nearly almost 3 full calendar weeks, a little more than 2 full weeks worth of games.
Well, he was recently reminded about that because the same pitcher that knocked him out for those 16 games, Jameson Taillon, drilled him in the elbow the other night.
Fastball high and tight there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Suarez tied for the league lead in runs batted in with the Cubs' Javier Baez. A monster game last night by Trevor Story. And now all of a sudden the Colorado Rocky has 95 runs batted in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Very limited schedule tonight in the National League. You have Atlanta playing at Arizona. You have this one, and then the Cubbies beginning a series taking on the Washington Nationals after St. Louis just finished them off yesterday in a 7-6 decision. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Suarez probably figuring he's going to get a fastball right here after seeing Lauer miss with a slow curveball attempt on the last pitch. Lauer's got 4 different pitches he throws. Throws a 4-seam fastball, really doesn't try to sink it too much. Has a slider that he really likes. He'll throw that almost 1 every 4 pitches. He cuts his fastball a little bit, and then occasionally a curveball. He didn't throw any curveballs his last outing, but of course he was pitching at Coors Field in Colorado where curveballs just don't seem to work very well.
3-2 again. And that is strike 3 as Suarez went around. Votto was not running on that pitch on a 3-2 pitch with 2 away. 1 man left, end of 1, we're scoreless. Reds app. Customize your experience to catch every moment for the remainder of this year. Now you can stream Reds games with Fox Sports Go through the MLB at Bat app. Download MLB at Bat today. 1-2-3 opening inning by Luis Castillo. So the cleanup hitter is Eric Hosmer, longtime Royal, looks at a strike. First year as a Padre, 250 batter, 13 home runs, 56 knocked in, mired in a horrific slump right now. Go back to the 22nd of August. He has 7 hits in his last 49 at bats without a single home run. And a 2-hopper to Votto. 1 out.
That little 2-0 pitch in the swing really give you some insight about Eric Hosmer. I mean, the more you get into a slump, the more you think you have to swing to get your way out of it. And the harder he swings, he gets a 2-0 pitch right here. Or a 1-1 pitch, that is. And I mean, he really just lets everything loose. His front side is gone. His hips are already flying wide open right there. And even if he does hit that ball solidly, there's nowhere it's going except foul. So sometimes you just have to dial it back a little bit instead of trying to dial it up.
Well, much like Hosmer, Will Myers slumping badly of late. You go back to the end of July. Now, he's been battling injuries very early in the year and missed a lot of playing time. But since the beginning of August, Will Myers has hit 1 home run, and that was his only RBI. Only 3 teams in the league have scored fewer runs than the Padres. They brought in Andy Green a couple of years ago. He replaced, you may remember, Bud Black. Black making his way to Colorado, where he has done a marvelous job trying to get to the Rockies to the postseason for the 2nd straight year. And there's Mark McGwire. He is Andy Green's bench coach, and Myers is out of there on strikes.
Got 3 strikeouts in 1 2/3, and that's another changeup. The right-on-right changeup is something that a lot of right-handed hitters don't see a lot of, but you will from Castillo. I wonder if Bud Black thinks it's easier to manage in Colorado, where your team can actually score runs, as opposed to being in San Diego, where even a good offensive ball club is going to be challenged there. And if you don't have a shutdown bullpen, they've got a good bullpen and a good pitching staff, you're going to lose a lot of games. They've only got 55 wins on the year. That's 4 fewer than the Reds.
Well, here's one guy that is not cold right now. That would be Franmil Reyes. He's hit safely in a career best 10 straight games at a 400 clip. And going back even further than that, he has every hit in every game except for 1 in the last 2 weeks. And right now, that is tied for the longest active streak in the National League with the Cardinals' Tommy Pham.
Big dude. They didn't really expect him to be in the plans this year. He went to spring training with the Padres as a non-roster invitee. Big dude, 6'5", 275.
Castillo has him at 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 down and nobody on. Right at Herrera. Back-to-back perfect innings for Luis Castillo. No score in game 1 of 4. Again this year. It's called the Kroger Meal Deal. You can check concession stands around the ballpark. You get a hot dog, a bag of chips, 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Chobani Smooth Non-Greek Yogurt. Make sure to get your Kroger Meal Deal today. A total of $9. No score. Reds bat in the second inning, and Phillip Ervin to lead things off. He'll be followed by Schebler and Herrera. Ervin, for all intents and purposes, has become an everyday player. That one popped up on a bunt attempt, and he's out.
I think there are certain times Phillip Ervin would be very well served laying down a bunt. I'm not so sure, though, facing a young left-hander like Eric Lauer and a small ballpark like Great American early in the game is the time to do that. Sometimes the shift will dictate the fact that you're going to have a lot of room. I think the Reds would like to see him swing the bat.
Ervin against left-handers has been nearly a .300 batter. And here's Schebler. 275 hitter. Schebler playing in his 12th game since he came off the disabled list last Saturday. 10 hits and 40 at-bats, has 1 home run.
You've noticed that Scott Schebler, especially since coming off the disabled list, when he gets 2 strikes on him, he really gets down in that low crouch. And it's all good to be able to try to shrink the zone a little bit, get your head better closer to contact. But when a pitcher throws the ball up there, what happens is that a batter has to go from a crouch to hitting while his head is moving up. And if your head is moving while you're trying to make contact with a baseball, it's a tough thing to do.
One ball and 2 strikes on Schebler.
Almost looks a little like a Pete Rose stance. But the difference would be that Pete Rose, rather than having the bat, straight up and down at the very beginning of the pitching delivery, Pete would have that bat flat, almost on plane. So that would be very difficult to throw anything high in the zone by him because the bat was already on plane to hit that high pitch.
Ran a fastball up under his hands, and he could not catch up with it. 2 strikeouts early on here tonight for Eric Lauer.
Now, again, I mean, you're really telegraphing to the catcher and the pitcher that you're not going to be able to hit the high fastball right there. When your bat is straight up and down and you're crouched, there's just a lot of movement that the bat has to go from being perpendicular to the ground to being parallel and trying to hit that high pitch. You'll notice that it seems like Schebler's a much better fastball hitter early in the count.
So here's Herrera. Total of 60 at bats so far for Dielson. That's 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in, 4 doubles. Would you Herrera very, very little playing time in his most natural position, that being at second base. Tonight only his 5th start since he was promoted the first week of July. 5th start as a second baseman. Gone swinging, and that'll end the inning. 1, 2, 3 for Lauer. He has 3 strikeouts in the game, the same total as Castillo. Twitter, relive and share great moments, get game updates. Follow us at Fox Sports OH on Twitter. Well, Mrs. Mary Weaver, the better half of our game producers tonight, Mr. Kent Dream Weaver. Well, she looks great for logging all those years with Kent. Holy Moses. Start the third inning. It's 6 up, 6 down for Luis Castillo. Mejia, we mentioned making his first start. He had one pinch hit appearance, and he drives this ball hard into deep left center field. And that ball will fly out of here, a home run. Nice play made by that young man in the seats. And Mejia, in his first start, in his first at bat, a home run to left center field. How about that?
Well, he was just recalled from their AAA franchise El Paso on Tuesday. Made his debut pinch hitting in the top of the 6th inning, but boy, oh boy, he'll remember this one forever.
It's his first major league home run. A very happy moment for that young man indeed. This ball in the air to right center field. This one traveling a long way as well, but room for Hamilton, one step short of the wall off the bat of Freddie Galvis. So the Padres up 1-0 on the Mejia home run here to lead off the third inning. Now the pitcher Lauer. 2 hits and 24 at bats, has a double and a run batted in.
Lauer, one of those rare baseball players that throws left and hits right. I think Randy Johnson did that, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
Or that elbow guard on his left arm. That's the moneymaker.
And I think the Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson also was a left-handed thrower and a right-handed batter. Three balls and a strike on the pitcher. Payoff pitch, 3-2 with 1 out, and a bouncer over the mound. That'll be handled by Peraza. Plenty of time to throw out Lauer for the second out of the inning.
Now Jankowski comes up, the leadoff hitter. There are 3 Padres in this lineup tonight that come from their own farm system that were drafted in the first round. Jankowski being one, Renfroe and Eric Lauer.
Padres were hoping for big things from Manuel Margot this season after his first year in the big leagues in 2017. It's just not played out that way. Out off third base side, and Castillo jumps in front at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Looped into short left, and they had him played that way. Irvin to run it down. A solo home run by Mejia, his first in the big leagues, has put San Diego in front 1-0.
I'll never forget Colorado's 5-3 win over the Giants. Story began the night falling on his backside after clubbing a 459-foot homer down the line. Next at bat, the Rocky Star went for something a little better. 111 miles per hour, 505-foot home run to tie the game back up. Second homer became the longest tracked by StatCast at any ballpark guy since the technology launched in 15, surpassing Stanton's 504-footer. Also at Coors Field 2 years ago, and he got one better. He hit 3 last night. So, man, you talk about a night. Whew.
And you talk about a team on a roll. The Rockies have ripped off 5 straight wins to leapfrog both Arizona and the Dodgers, sitting atop the National League West, a game and a half better than LA off tonight.
This is the latest the Rockies have ever been in first place.
Of course, they were a wild card team along with Arizona a season ago. They went to Arizona and lost in that one-game playoff. Then the Dodgers came in to beat up on Arizona.
And all of those teams have really beat up on the Padres this year. The Padres have been the doormat really of that league. When you go 5-11 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, you're 4-12 against the Dodgers. That stings. Played a lot better against Colorado, 8-11, and 5-8 against the Giants. They've got some games left in that series.
Arizona's been the best team slightly inside that division against divisional opponents, 7 games over 500. But the Diamondbacks are in 3rd place. D-backs will be playing tonight. We mentioned that Colorado has a night off. Dodgers too. But all those teams very much involved in the wild card as well. Milwaukee and St. Louis in a virtual tie atop the wild card race. Then you have the Dodgers 2 back, Arizona 2.5. And still on the fringe would be Philadelphia at 4.5 back. Phillies are really struggling for quite a while now. 7 games over 500, but only 3 behind Atlanta for the top spot in the NL East. 3-2 to Barnhart. And that's strike 3 on a breaking ball. 4 strikeouts in the game.
Well, he really likes the slider. Mentioned early on that he'll throw about 1 every 4 pitches. There will be that slider, and he drops it right in there that time. Looks like it was going to stay outside, and Barnhart sees it come right in there and catch the outer corner. got the strikeout pitch going, 4 of them here in the top of the 3rd.
Here's Castillo. 6 hit and 49 at bats for Luis. Then from the right side, strike 1. A ball and 2 strikes on Castillo. And we'll keep it right there. Back-to-back National League Western Division opponents coming into Cincinnati on this homestand. 4 against San Diego, and then the Dodgers in for 3 big ones. Castillo out of there on strikes. First time through the order. Lauer's fan 5 of 9. If they read it's a home run off the Toyota sign tonight. Sue Whalen from Cincinnati will win that beautiful Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark, thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. 2 down here in the 3rd, 1-0 San Diego. Billy tapped out to 3rd, his first time up, looks at a ball low and in. The appeal, he did not go around, and it's 3 balls and a strike on Hamilton, who comes in tonight to play batting .239. On base percentage at .327 this year for Hamilton. Whereas .300 is his on base percentage. I beg your pardon, that's a foul ball. .327 the slugging percentage of Billy Hamilton. So I beg your pardon. Three balls, 2 strikes with the bases empty and 2 away. And that's strike 3 again with that slow breaking ball, and that's 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings for Eric Lauer. Brown Stadium. That means UC v Miami. Get your first look ahead on Bearcats Insider. Dan Ord and Tony Pike right after Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Huge win over the weekend. Season opening win for Luke Fickell's team, beating UCLA out at the Rose Bowl in Chip Kelly's debut as head coach of the Bruins. Big win for UC to start it off. 1-0 Reds trail. 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order. Urias followed by Renfroe and then Hosmer.
Now, when they take on Miami, the Bearcats, don't they call that the bucket of nails or the?
No, the victory bell, the battle for the bell, the victory bell. Yes,
okay.
Yes. Tapper back to the mound, 1 out. Here's Renfroe. He tapped out to the third baseman Suarez his first time up. Trying to hit that ball out to Batavia with that huge swing on a first pitch from Castillo. That one won't reach Batavia, but it will reach the seats in left field, and that's a solo home run for Renfroe to make it 2-0 San Diego. Only 2 base runners through the first 3 1/3 against Castillo, but both hitting home runs.
Yeah, none of them had to stop. That looked like a little slider right there. Could have been a changeup, but I think a slider that he just kind of hung right out there for Renfroe, and he's got a big, strong swing. That is his 8th pulled home run in the last month. I mean, he likes to yank them.
We mentioned that Renfroe is coming off a monster month of August. He led all National League players with 27 runs batted in the month of July. And that was coming off the month of August, and that was a month of July where he drove in 23. So he's turning it on late. Hosmer bounced out to Votto to lead off the second inning, a count of 1 ball, 1 strike. Line to the center field. That'll fall a base hit.
Renfroe and Hosmer at least had a little better look at things here the second time through. They measured that changeup. Renfroe may have had a breaking ball, but either way, it was an off-speed pitch for both of these hitters.
Will Myers, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Strike 1. A lot of talk about Myers, who signed a big, huge contract to stay in San Diego. He's been a very good player for this team up until this year, where he's battled injuries. He's only playing in his 64th game of the year. And will he be back next year? You know, the question many San Diego fans are asking is, where's the progress of this team? Like so many around baseball, including the Reds, who are rebuilding this whole thing, and kind of an in-between hop there. Unable to make the play is Peraza, and everybody's safe. That'll be a base hit for Myers. No, I'm sorry, an error charged to Peraza.
Now it goes from being a possible double play ball because Myers doesn't run all that well, and he runs well for a first baseman. But that ends up being a couple of runners on and one out. Damage control now for Luis Castillo as the big man steps through the plate.
And the red hot big man in Reyes. He grounded out to Herrera his first time up. A 10-game hitting streak. And it's ball one. Pulled him there, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Castillo keeps going back to that same spot down and away. They just don't feel that Reyes can handle that low outside pitch. Why change? Back-to-back off-speed pitches out there after a fastball that just missed.
One ball, 2 strikes, 1 in, 2 on, and 1 out. It'll stay right there at a ball and 2 strikes. Reyes had a monster year last year at their AA affiliate in San Antonio. He knocked in over 100 runs. And has had some good minor league seasons. Signed as a teenager. Chris brought up earlier out of the Dominican Republic, going all the way back to 2011. And getting his chance now with a big league club and has made the most of it so far. 2-2.
Now, what the Padres have done very well is they've done very well in the international free agent market. And that's where Reyes came from. They signed him as a youngster in 2011. Padres are ranked right now, depending on who you believe, at least the consensus would be top 3 organizations in baseball for their minor league talent. You know, so far so good here for Reyes in this at bat, because Castillo is just throwing that ball where he wants to, down and away, down and in. Hasn't really given him much of a pitch to hit, but you can see that Reyes is probably a guy that hits the majority of his home runs on mistake pitches, as most hitters do, and he's just trying to stay alive until he gets one.
Got him down and away, and Castillo picks up his. Oh boy, big fella snapping that bat in half. Not happy with the way that one turned out. Looks like a twig in that guy's hands. Wow. Watch this. Smash. Strikeouts now in the game for Castillo. He had 3 in the first 5 hitters of the game. And now the batter is Mejia. High drive way back right field. His first start as a Padre in his first 2 at bats. Home runs, a solo shot in the 3rd, a 3-run big fly here in the 4th. And the Padres, a 4-run 4th inning with a pair of home runs, lead 5-0. 97 miles per hour down and in. And that's generally where a lot of left-handed hitters like it. And Mejia clearly likes facing Castillo. 2 at bats, a home run to left center, and a 3-run big fly to right. Strike 1 on Galvis. It's 27 home runs allowed now this season in 147 innings pitched for Luis Castillo. And that is the second most home runs surrendered among all National League pitchers. You've got Anderson out in Colorado, Anderson up in Milwaukee, each with 28. And now Castillo 27. Reds have 3 pitchers ranked in the top 10 this year, 3 of their starters, for most home runs allowed. Galvis gone swinging. 4 runs in the Padres' 4th, and they lead 5-0.
Posters, of course, a spoof on the famous Sandlot movie in celebration of the 14th annual Marty Brennaman Golf Classic benefiting the Reds Community Fund. The event is happening Sunday and Monday, and there are still foursomes available for Monday. Call the number on your screen to sign up for a round of golf and a chance to kick it with our Sand Trap crew. It should be a good time, guys.
Well, Shannon, thank you very much. Looking forward to that as always. Always a great time had by all. And we understand foursomes are still only available for Monday, no longer on Sunday, and that's a good day to go anyway. 765-7240, 513-765-7240. So the Reds are trailing 5-0. They have work to do. They have a total of 2 base runners. One was thrown out trying to turn a single into a double. That's the man who leads things off here in the 4th, and Jose Peraza. And then Joey Votto behind him walked. But 7 straight retired by Lauer, including 6 of the 7 on strikeouts. The last Red to actually put the ball in play was Irvin, trying to bunt his way on, leading off the 2nd inning. Fouled out. Hot smash by Myers again. Same thing Peraza did his first time up. He'll stay put and drop anchor this time. And that adds another base hit for Peraza, who is one of 3 Reds in our Lowe's home team together. Jeanette leads the league not only in batting average, but also total base hits. Peraza's 6th, and Suarez in the top 25. You got to watch a pickoff move here of Lauer, and you can rest assured the Reds have been brought up to speed before this one ever got started. He leads Major League Baseball with 10 pickoffs. That is the most by a rookie since Greg Smith had 16 of them for Oakland all the way back in 2008. Breaking ball drops in there, strike.
You know, you get a reputation for having a good pickoff move, and every time you pick your right leg up, the runner's going back to first base because he doesn't want to be victim number 11. You know, Peraza with a real big lead down there. One strategy that some runners like to do is have the one-way lead, where you take a big lead, and then as soon as the pitcher picks his leg up, you go back to the bag. You're trying to force him to go over so that you can see up front and personal, you know, that move for yourself rather than relying on the video that you've seen.
When Lauer just forbids to throw Votto a strike. He walked him on 5 pitches his first time up, and he's fallen behind 3-1 this time. Threw him a fastball there right down the can, and Votto a big swing and a miss.
Must be something very deceptive about the fastball of Eric Lauer, because if you're just going by the radar gun readings, I mean, it's underwhelming velocity, but overwhelming results, at least so far. 6 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. A lot of swings and misses on fastballs.
Three balls, 2 strikes. We'll see if Peraza is running here. He's not. And another foul ball by Votto. 3 straight fastballs, 90, 92, and then 90.
Yeah, really, it looks like they don't want to give in to Votto and have him be able to hit a breaking pitch. It's something that he's done very well over his career. It's one reason why Votto's numbers against left-handers are so good. Stays back and hits that ball to left field.
Second time Votto has walked, and the Reds have the first 2 aboard, trailing 5-0 here in the last of the 4th inning. Suarez with 100 runs batted in, making his way to the plate. Suarez struck out, ending the first inning. Starts him with a breaking ball, belt high, strike 1. Well, when you knock in 100 runs before you're a full week into September, chances are those numbers will be pretty good, and that they are for Suarez. Fastball misses up and away. 2 balls and a strike. Came right back with another fastball, and Suarez tardy on it. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. First big threat of the night for the Redlegs.
That's where the deception comes in for Eric Lauer. I mean, that ball seemingly looked like it was right down the middle, right at hitting speed, and a lot of hitters just a tick late on it. You wonder right here if you're going to get a pitch to hit on a 3-2 count, whether they'll send Peraza anyway. Not necessarily Votto has to follow him, but nobody holding Votto on really. He can get way out there near Hosmer at first base if they want to try to send the runners on a 3-2 count. Down by 5, not likely to happen.
Runner's not going, and it's fouled out of play by Suarez. We'll do it again at 3-2. Big pitch coming up here for Suarez and the Redlegs. 2 on, nobody out, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And now Lauer can't find the plate. Misses with a pitch down and in, and they're loaded up with nobody out. Back-to-back walks after a leadoff single from Peraza.
And out jogging to see him will be their pitching coach, Darren Balsley. Probably just going to try to break the tension up there. But meanwhile, as Phillip Ervin settles into the batter's box, this is a situation where he's got to be ready to hit the first pitch he sees. Lauer does not want to get behind him after walking back-to-back runners to load the bases, so figuring he's going to get something to hit.
Well, I mentioned Ervin has pretty much become a regular player ever since the injury to Jesse Winker, and he's part of our IGS bringing the energy since they brought him back up at the All-Star break. .294 batter, 22 runs batted in, has 7 doubles and 4 home runs. Good numbers for Ervin. First extended playing time at the big league level he's ever had after being brought up for bits and pieces last year with no regular playing time. Of course, Reds this time a year ago still had Schebler and Duvall and Hamilton among others in the outfield. Had brought up Winker late in the year. Strike 1 to Ervin as he does indeed go after that first pitch and came up empty. And I know you were talking during Reds Live tonight about that rather cloudy Reds outfield picture looking ahead to next year.
Well, the guy that has begun to separate himself a little bit is Phillip Ervin. Of course, when you get Jesse Winker back, another left-handed hitter, Reds may be looking for their fourth outfielder to be a right-hander. If everything else stays the same, that is, if Schebler is back and Hamilton is back. Neither of them will be free agents, but you're talking about barring a trade.
There have been a lot of rumors over the last couple of years, not only during the season and during the off season, that Billy Hamilton may have been on the trading block. Obviously still here, and he likes being here. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ervin. We'll see what the offseason brings. Many questions and in search of answers would be Dick Williams and, of course, Nick Krall and that entire baseball operations department here on Joe Nuxall Way. One ball, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, nobody out.
The Reds are doing a pretty good job of staying off that little slider here this time through the lineup. 5 of the 6 strikeouts that he was able to muster so far on the night, Lauer was the first time the Reds have seen him. Second time through, you get a little better read. Third time through, a lot of times, and that's when things implode for pitchers.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Phillip Ervin. Three and 2 with the bases loaded. Ervin waiting, and now Lauer backs off the rubber.
I wonder if he wants another pitch right there. He may have had a little indecision in what he was going to throw to Mejia. Want something else right here, something he feels more confident with. Fastball away.
Struck him out on a fastball at 92 miles per hour, and that's 7 strikeouts in the game for Lauer, and that's the first out here in the 4th inning.
Now that's the bread and butter. In fact, in this at bat, he threw 3 in a row, not 3 in a row, but 3 in the same at bat right by Ervin upstairs. So when he needed to, rears back and gets what he needs, and now up to Scott Schebler.
So Schebler digging in with the bases loaded. Reds trying to get on the board. Of course, the Reds is a team with 9 grand slams this year. They've had more at bats, more hits than any team in baseball with the bases loaded this year. 51 hits. The 9 grand slams tied with the Indians and the Boston Red Sox. 2 balls and no strikes.
Now Schebler, one area where he has really excelled this year is his ability to hit left-handed pitching. He's in the top 15 of Major League Baseball against lefties, hitting .344 this year.
Takes a 2-0 pitch, a fastball on the outside corner, a strike. Throws him a pitch and misses badly, low and away at 2-1. So now 3 balls and a strike to Schebler. Padres have action in their bullpen. Robert Stock, a right-hander, hard throwing right-hander.
You get a new ball when you're throwing by the catcher.
Mm-hmm. 3 balls and a strike. Already 2 walks in this inning by Lauer. 3-2. Second out of the inning. The 8 strikeouts matching a career high for Lauer, and we're just in the 4th inning.
Well, he's got a knack for drama.
He's gone 3-2 on the last 2 batters with the bases loaded. Strikes out Irvin swinging, and Schebler looks at strike 3. Bases loaded, none out, has gone to bases loaded, 2 outs, and here's Dielson Herrera. He struck out his first time up. Now we're struck out 8 Dodgers. That one is hooked hard into left field, and that will be caught. A diving play, and what a play made indeed by Hunter Renfroe. He just saved at least 2, probably 3 runs on a spectacular diving play in the outfield. That ball was already by him. Your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Youngsters enjoying the ball game here tonight. Perfect weather night. Had a little bit of. How about that big Suarez fan? Well, the night is over for Mr. Lauer. He will not even qualify for a win, despite the fact that he is working on a 2-hit shutout through 4 innings in this game. After a lengthy 4th inning. A single, a couple of walks, loaded the bases, but then struck out 2. Got a great play in left made by Renfroe to get out of the inning. Jose Perella, the pinch hitter. And he's behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's strike 3 to Pirela.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about how the Reds acquired Luis Castillo from the Marlins in exchange for Dan Straley, but that is really only part of the story. He originally signed by the San Francisco Giants back in 2011. He was traded from the Giants to Miami. And then in 2016, right before the deadline, from Miami to San Diego for a couple of players with Colin Ray and 2 others. But Colin Ray was a left-handed pitcher who had some arm problems, so he pitched 1 game for the Miami Marlins, and then he came down with a bad arm, and the Marlins said, hey, wait a minute here, you dealt us damaged property. Well, we want to undo that deal. So what they eventually ended up doing, and we'll show you that panel one more time, is that they basically traded back Luis Castillo for Colin Ray. So the Marlins ended up with Ray right here, and that was right before the Reds picked him up a year later, or actually about 5 or 6 months later, in the winter time for Dan Straley. I still, for the life of me, don't understand what the urgency was on the part of the Marlins to continue to try to trade away Luis Castillo. Great young kid, works hard, throws nearly 100 miles an hour, and has a great changeup.
Well, Danny Darwin out there to visit with it. Of course, Darwin and Castillo were together at the very beginning of last year. It's hard to imagine after watching Castillo, and he was brought up and pitched so well for the big league club last year, that he made that leap all the way from Double-A, where he was with Danny Darwin.
You can tell just from that interaction right there, watching the facial expressions of Luis Castillo. They've got a very tight relationship.
Reds have action in their bullpen. Matt Whistler beginning to throw. As it's ball 1 to Urias. After the single by Jankowski, Urias over to us, struck out and bounced out to the pitcher. (5-0) San Diego. We are in the top of the 5th inning. 4-game weekend series. Night game tomorrow. 6:40 again now that we've hit the month of September, and 4:10 on Saturday, 1:10 on Sunday. Then the Dodgers in town beginning Monday night. Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw to second, right on the money, but the call is safe. Jankowski, number 22 in 28 attempts.
That's a good throw by Barnhart, just a little bit high, but Jankowski, see how quickly he gets in there. Looks like Herrera wants to drop a knee right there, just doesn't get it in front of the bag. If he wanted to, he could have slipped that foot of his right in front of the bag instead of being on top of the base. They're going to take another look at it.
Jim Riggleman feeling that perhaps he saw something that the umpire did not.
Jankowski, one of the 3 players in this Padre lineup that are former #1 draft picks by the Padres. He came from Stony Brook University in Stony Brook, New York. Not too many big leaguers from that place. Joe Nathan, very fine reliever, came from Stony Brook. The other interesting thing here, and I don't know why Jankowski wouldn't do it, why he wouldn't wear one of those sleeves or koozies. People call them oven mitts. I think they've got better use in other ways, but why he wouldn't use that, because it actually gives you, an extra 2, 3, 4 inches on your reach than what your fingers do. Now you may be asking yourself as you see that, are the strings right there, are the laces part of your glove? And if that's part of the being of the tag first, that would not be under the consideration. The laces are not part of the glove from that standpoint. It has to be actual part of the leather.
Safe, and the call stands at second base. So Jankowski at second with one away. And with one out, a 1-1 count on Urias. Two balls and a strike to count. Runner at second. Padres already leading by 5, and there's a drive into left field. It'll back up Irvin at the warning track for the second out here in the 5th. Now Renfroe hit a home run with one out in the 4th inning to left field. Three of the 4 runs in that inning unearned runs after Peraza was charged with an error. But Castillo, still with 2 away, gave up the home run ball to Mejia on the first pitch. Fastball in there, strike. Two and one on Hunter Renfroe with Jankowski. Very good speed leading out there at second base, and a bluff throw back there. There was nobody near the bag.
May sound funny here to down 5-0, but it looks like an old pitch around right here. The way that Barnhart was set up on that last pitch was he was halfway in the left-handed batter's box, way out there.
Set up outside again, and that's where he wanted it. Breaking ball down and away, swung on and missed. 3-2 to Renfroe.
Some pitchers like a lot of movement back there. Other pitchers would prefer their catchers to sit still and more throw to the shin guards rather than the center of the catcher as he moves around. Could be a little disconcerting for umpires too, have your catcher move around a lot. Good comeback.
And that is a 7th strikeout for Castillo. A scoreless 5th for the Padres. 5-0.
I can't believe it was this long. The 1995 Cal Ripken breaks Lou Gehrig's consecutive game record, playing in his 2,131st straight game. When the game became official in the middle of the 5th inning, the new Iron Man took that victory lap around Camden Yards during a 22-minute standing ovation from the sellout crowd that included none other than President Bill Clinton back in 1995. Boy, guys, it seems like it was just a few years ago.
Well, you're not lying. It seems, boy, no kidding. All right, the Padres are going to their bullpen. They hit for their starter, Lauer, who strikes out a career-high tying 8 batters in 4 innings, allows 2 hits and no runs, yet he gets the heave-ho, and Robert Stock takes over on the mound. Stock, 28 years old. Pitched collegiately at the University of Southern California. He has always been a reliever. Originally drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. Bounced around, went through some injuries, went to St. Louis, to Pittsburgh, was a Red for a short while in February of 2017. And pitched at Daytona, also at Pensacola. Had a very good year last year in the Reds minor league system. But San Diego picked him up, now pitching in the big leagues for the first time. Castillo will be taken down for a pinch hitter. Trahan pops it up on the first pitch, and Blake is retired on 1 pitch. A little jam shot to the shortstop. So Castillo looked like he was going to be on another good roll here tonight, and then the home run ball got him. He gave up 3 home runs, 5 runs, 2 of the 5 earned runs in his 5 innings of work here tonight. Castillo fanned 7 and did not walk a batter tonight. Told you Stock can rush it up there. And he has just overpowered Barnhart and Trahan to begin this inning. And a fly ball driven to the left fielder Renfroe. 1-2-3 for Stock on a total of 8 pitches.
And love Tucker Barnhart, so it came as no surprise when he was nominated for this year's Roberto Clemente Award. Prior to tonight's game, Tuck was honored for his exceptional character both on and off the field. The 2018 league-wide recipient will be announced at the World Series. Until then, Tuck is our guy. Guys?
Well, there's no doubt about that. He is just a terrific young man. Grew up in Brownsburg, Indiana, outside of Indianapolis. Still makes his home there, and we wish him all the best. You can vote for a final winner through the 18th of this month, MLB.com/Clemente21. And we would certainly encourage you to do so for Tucker Barnhart. He's earned it. So the Reds will go to their bullpen, and we told you they had Matt Whistler up and throwing, and now he comes on to pitch.
Whistler, of course, one of the 3 players that the Reds got in return for Adam Duvall when they made that trade with Atlanta. They sent Preston Tucker back already in a side deal, but it's Whistler and Lucas Sims who are the 2 right-handers that are still left and on this big league roster.
He's a native of Bryan, Ohio. There's a fly ball into right, well short of the warning track off the bat of Hosmer for the first out of the inning. It was actually originally a San Diego Padre. Drafted by them in the 7th round of 2011, traded to Atlanta in that whopping 7-player deal that involved Craig Kimbrell and Melvin Upton Jr. And just brought up from AAA Louisville on Friday when they sent Austin Bryce back down to the minor leagues. Strike 1 to Will Myers. Just tuning in, Reds had a big scoring chance after falling behind 5-0 in the bottom of the 4th. They had the bases loaded with nobody out. But the starter, Eric Lauer from Elyria, Ohio, struck out Irvin, struck out Chevler, got Herrera on a liner to left on just a fabulous play made by Renfroe, their left fielder, short left. This will fall in a hit for Myers. His first hit in 3 at-bats, although he did reach on the error by Peraza, which led to 3 unearned runs. So now Reyes, who is the hottest hitter in this lineup coming into play tonight, but Castillo took care of him twice, once on a ground ball to Herrera, the other time on strikes.
Pretty nice little breaking ball for Matt Whistler. He's got a fastball that's not an overpowering fastball, but the combination of his control and that nice sharp breaking pitch is something that the Reds are going to take a hard look at. He'll be out of options at the end of spring training next year, so it will be decision time. They feel going forward, the Reds do, that they picked up a reliever in Whistler and a starter in Sims in that deal for Adam Duvall.
We'll see how it plays out, whether or not, sooner or later he gets a start. That's a coordinated effort on making a lot of those decisions with the manager and the people in the baseball operations department. Now, where does Tyler Mahle fit into all that? Gone swinging is Reyes. I mean, as it stands right now, it's the same 5 guys in the rotation that are in there at least this next time through. With Castillo tonight, DeSclafani, Harvey, Cody Reed again on Sunday after his outing the other night. And still Homer Bailey. Bailey is scheduled to pitch Monday against the Dodgers here at Great American Ballpark. Mejia came over from the Indians. He had a chance to get to the big leagues last year. He came over in that trade involving the San Diego closer, Brad Hand. Boy, in his first start as a Padre here tonight, you can't do any better than he's done. His first major league home run to left center came into third, and then a 3-run home run in the 4th inning to right. Nationals fell behind 2-0 to the Cubbies. They've jumped in front 3-2. StatCast AI powered by AWS. This is a one to the opposite field. And then this one to right with 2 aboard. To watch a game in San Diego, and when you call that place your home ballpark at Petco Park, and then to come to this ballpark, it is truly night and day the difference. When you hit a ball into the outfield virtually everywhere. Runner going, and it's hooked to the right side, picked up by Herrera, and that's all. 1 hit, 1 left for Whistler. Reds will bat in the 6th inning, trailing the Padres 5-0.
5th anniversary of the hit movie The Sandlot on Friday, September 14th. Enjoy this movie featuring Scotty Smalls, Benny the Jet, and the rest of the ragtag roster like never before on the Great American Ballpark video boards. Bring the entire family for free and enjoy the show. For details, visit reds.com/movie night. Hey, you can't beat that, Tom. Come to the ballpark and watch a great movie for free.
Well, you're not lying about that. A great movie indeed. One of the all-time great baseball movies, sports-themed movies, Sandlot. Let's see if the Reds can get something going against Stock here in the 6th.
He's a guy that the Padres have used in multiple innings many times out there. Stock, as you mentioned, formerly property of the St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, he was drafted as a catcher. But even going back further than that.
Peraza with a 3rd hit tonight. In fact, he has all the Reds hits in his game.
Yeah, 2 rifle shots right down the 3rd baseline under the glove of Will Myers, and that little one poked over the shortstop's head. He probably ends up with about 40 of those a year, where he just flips them over the infield. Got the outfielders playing fairly deep because he's got some power. And it looks like they're going to make a double switch right here. Too bad. I had a lot to tell you about Robert Stock, who had, when he was rated by Baseball America at ages 13, 14, and 15, he was rated the best baseball player of his age in the entire country. Converted from catcher to pitcher, and now Andy Green's going to the bullpen.
This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. They will indeed bring on the southpaw to face Votto when we come back. That brings on Jankowski over to right. Night is over for Reyes, so his hitting streak comes to an end after an 0 for 3. And here's a left-hander, Jose Castillo.
Yeah, he's another very young pitcher the Padres have in their bullpen. Only 22 years old. He acquired from the Tampa Bay Rays a couple of years ago in the Will Myers deal.
On to face a left-handed batting Votto. Joey tonight has walked twice. Behind in the count here, 1-2 strikes. Peraza, by the way, the last 8 games he's played here on the home front, 4 of those games he has 3 hits or more.
Wow.
So he likes a home cooking. just putting together an overall excellent season is Jose Peraza. I mean, look, no player's perfect. And we talk about this all the time. I mean, you can sit around and, you know, poke a hole in this player's game or that player's game or whatever it is, and you'll find a hole on virtually every single one of them. But Peraza, by and large, has had just an outstanding year. Votto gone on strikes for the first out here in the 6th inning.
Well, that was an overpowering at bat right there for Jose Castillo. A couple of fastballs Votto couldn't catch up with, then dropped the nasty yacker on him.
Here's Suarez. He has struck out and drawn a walk. Reds are down 5-0. They bat here in the bottom of the 6th inning. They have 3 hits, and all 3 of them belong to the man who leads over there at first base, Jose Peraza. Whoa. Suarez spinning out of the way of that fastball. It said 94. It looked a lot firmer than that.
Well, gotta like Castillo's arm action and that breaking pitch that he has. Padres acquired him when he was 19. He was originally signed at 17 by the Rays. Big guy, 6 feet 5 inches, about 250 pounds.
Double play ball the way here. And the throw is in the dirt on the throw by Urias. So the Reds will have this 6th inning stay alive. You can't charge him with an error because you can't assume the double play, but if there is ever a double play ball, that was it.
They got the front half of it very easily, but Urias, as you can see, just stays right in there. And you see this more and more with infielders who don't use the base as protection like they used to. You know, they feel that they're going to be protected now against any sliders of runners that are sliding over the bag in an attempt to take them out. And he just basically had Peraza get on him too quickly and threw that ball in the dirt.
Off the end of the bat, a fly ball hooks into left field, and this will be it for the Reds in the 6th inning. We march on to the 7th. Padres lead 5-0. This Friday, that's coming up, of course, tomorrow. The Reds and the Padres, you can be here as low as $12. And then the big post-game show presented by Mercedes-Benz of Westchester and Mercedes-Benz of Cincinnati. Visit Reds.com Look forward to seeing you here tomorrow night. A reminder, it's a 6:40 game tomorrow night. Whistler still on the mound for the Reds, trailing 5-0 in the 7th. It'll start with Freddie Galvis and his 2 balls and no strikes. Three and 0. Whistler allowed 1 hit, a 1-out single to Will Myers, a little bloop shot into left field in a scoreless 6th inning. Castillo went the front 5, allowing all 5 runs, 2 earned. Margot due up next after they made the double switch. Three balls and 2 strikes on Galvis. And there's ball 4 to begin the 7th inning.
That is the first walk given up by Reds pitching tonight. Of course, it was Castillo through the first 5. He gave up a couple of 3 home run balls. Whistler came in to start the 6th.
Fastball up and in. It is 2-0. Margot getting his first at bat. We mentioned this is a guy they were really expecting big things from this year, and just hadn't worked out that way. A .248 batter, 7 home runs, 43 runs batted in. Not like you're throwing the towel in on the guy. There's a base hit into left field, and advancing on to second is Galvis.
Got that one pretty well, did Margot. He went right down there to get a lower pitch and one hopper right by the shortstop.
So 2 on, and Jankowski, as we roll back to the top of the order for the 4th time of the game, he puts down the bunt, and a beauty, and that'll advance the runners. Sacrifice for the San Diego center fielder. On to third goes Galvis, and on to second base Margot. So the Reds infield drawn in. Urias the batter, 0 for 3. Struck out, tapped out to the pitcher, and hit a fly ball to the left fielder Irvin his last time up in the 5th. Get a look at the infield. Just off the grass. Galvis with good speed over there at third base. Not much of a lead though, with Suarez playing so close to the bag. Reds have a right-hander, Jackson Stevens, getting loose in their bullpen. 1-0 the count on Urias. Breaking ball, and there, a good one, a strike.
That's been a good pitch for Whistler here ever since he's come over to the Reds. It's been a good pitch for him tonight. Got a strikeout of Reyes the first inning on that breaking pitch.
Popped up. Tagging is Galvis. Catch is made. Here comes a throw by Urban, and it's off the line. Wouldn't have been in time anyway. And a sac fly run in, batted in by Urias, makes it 6-0 San Diego. So a leadoff walk comes back to score for the Padres here in the 7th inning. Margot stays put at second base, and here comes Renfroe. 1 for 3 at a solo home run to left field in the 4th inning. For Renfroe is 20th of the year. In the air, is it playable? No, it's not, out of play. Out of play again. Oh, and 2 to Renfroe. Runner at second base with 2 away. Two and two on Renfroe. 2 away, runner at second base, and here it comes. Fouled away again. Padres got a solo home run by Mejia, making his first start as a Padre here tonight. It was his first big league home run that came in the 3rd inning. Got a home run by Renfroe with 1 out in the 4th. Single and an error. And then a 3-run home run by Mejia. His first 2 major league home runs. 4 runs batted in tonight. He did not go on the appeal, so it's 3 and 2. And the Padres tack on a run. A walk, a single, and a fly ball. After a sacrifice, move the runners. This one is playable for Votto and foul ground, and the inning is over. But the Padres tack on a run. They stand and stretch. The Padres stretch their lead to 6. Padres day after tomorrow, Saturday. And thanks to Queen City Sausage, the first 20,000 fans get a Joe Morgan replica statue. Celebrating the 5th anniversary of the Hall of Famer's bronze statue dedication here at the ballpark. Tickets are available at Reds.com. Number 8. Love seeing him here at the ballpark. Love seeing him here at the ballpark. Taking over on the mound, another hard thrower out of this San Diego bullpen, and it's been a great bullpen since the All-Star break, even after trading their closer Hand.
It's also a very young bullpen as well. Wingenter is no exception to that. He's 24 years old, big guy. He throws hard, and he's a 6'7", 200-pounder. Drafted and brought up through the Padre organization. Young man did his college work at Auburn.
He'll be facing Schebler to begin this Reds 7th inning. 98 miles per hour on that fastball. Padres bullpen overall this season at 3.5, third best in the National League, but we mentioned since the All-Star break, it's 3.14. That's the best in the National League, and I would bet even some hardcore baseball fans couldn't tell you one or two guys in that bullpen. And I don't think that's a stretch. But they really like their chances when they get a lead. Foul back out of play again on a fastball at 97. How about that? Young lady making a play. Well, she might have spilled something on her, and maybe she hurt her husband or her boyfriend or whatever it might be, or buddy, brother, I don't know. He looked like he was rubbing that wrist like something just hit it. Maybe a ricochet off him to her. He's hurting. It was a ricochet. He's going to act like a tough guy over there. And, you know, hey, this girl got the ball. Schebler turns around this 98-mile-per-hour fastball, and that's close to that Toyota sign out there. I don't think it hit it. But for Schebler, number 14, and the Reds are on the board. He might have gone over that sign out there.
But here's where it ended up, right over the, I guess, the PNC sign, which is just to the right of the Toyota sign. Pretty good location. That ball was hit a long way.
And it's too bad we couldn't give away that Tundra.
.108 miles an hour for that ball coming off the bat of Scott Schebler. Isn't it kind of funny, though, where, you know, Schebler strikes out swinging twice on fastballs off the starter. Eric Lauer right around 90, 91 miles an hour. Basically threw the ball right by him, and here you have Wingenter who's throwing the ball 98. And you get it turned around for a 400-foot shot.
Almost 450 feet, 449 the distance on that home run.
One man's 90 is another man's 100.
Mm-hmm. Herrera looks at a fastball right down the middle, a called third strike. 0 for 3 tonight for Herrera. Wingenter, we mentioned Chris did, pitched collegiately at Auburn. Born and raised in the state of Alabama. And people down that way will tell you when it comes decision time to play in a sport for Auburn or Alabama, it's one or the other. There's no gray area in that rivalry. It's hit a long way to center field, but it's a long way to get it out of here. And run down at the track out there by Margot. And a long, loud fly ball off the bat of Barnhart. Now the Reds are going to go to their bench. Looks like Mason Williams. Yep, he'll make his way to the plate. So Williams waits, and a fastball misses outside, ball one. David Hernandez getting loose in the Reds bullpen. He is already loose, apparently, and throwing here during this bottom of the 7th inning and ready to go. As Whistler goes 2 innings, allows 2 hits and an earned run. He walked a batter and struck out a batter. Two and two on Williams. Tell you, he'll give you a good at bat. We saw that lengthy at bat over the weekend in Pittsburgh. He wound up making it out, but it was a battle, fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch. And this ball is tagged into right center field. That's another long home run. So the harder he throws it, the further they whack it. 6-2 ball game.
Now this was 97 miles an hour. Then it looked like Wingenter shook off whatever Mejia wanted at the plate and said, no, I'm going with the fastball right here. And Mason Williams is happy that he did. The top end of the zone right there. And
so 2 runs here in the Cincinnati 7th inning on home runs from Schebler and now Williams. And it's a 4-run ball game. Billy Hamilton down, strike one. Billy 0 for 3 in the game, has bounced to third, struck out, and flied to left. Cubs trail the Nationals. That game in the top of the 6th inning at Nationals Park in D.C. 4-3. And coming up later on, the Braves and the Diamondbacks. A big game for each of those 2 teams. Every game will be big for those teams down the stretch. Hamilton blown away on the fastball, and the inning is over. Reds get home runs by Schebler. Way out there by the PNC Power Stacks. Williams adds a home run. Reds are down by 4. We go to the 8th.
They begin their playoff series tomorrow night at Great Falls, Daytona. The best of 3 series with Clearwater's tied at 1 apiece. Game 3 tonight, they're losing 3-2 in the 7th, so they need to score there. And Pensacola had the lead in this game, lost it late last night in the Southern League South Division Series to Biloxi. Game 2 is tonight. They lead it 2-0 in the 6th inning. So good luck to the Mustangs, the Tortugas, and the Blue Wahoos. Tom?
Yes, indeed. Wish all those teams good luck. Williams stays in the game after the pinch hit home run. He'll take over for Hamilton in center. And on the pitch is David Hernandez. Reds down 6-2. San Diego bats here in the top of the 8th inning. Excellent numbers for David Hernandez this year. His 48th game. Started the year on the disabled list. Hosmer drops it foul and out of play. He's 1 for 3 in the game. Singled and scored on the 3-run home run by Mejia back in the 4th inning.
Boy, he's got such a big swing. You can just see him just trying to do miraculous things every time he wheels the bat. A lot of moving parts once he starts that swing going.
Hernandez had a handful of days off here. He's not pitched since the 1st of the month. The team was in St. Louis. Worked a scoreless inning in that game on Saturday. Still 3-2 on Hosmer. Padres beat the Reds 2 out of 3 when they played out at Petco Park earlier this season. And in the first of this 4-game series, a 6-2 lead here in the 8th inning. Hosmer continues to foul away that fastball. 3-2. Be the 8th pitch in this at bat. Hosmer will be followed by Myers and then the pitcher spot.
Hernandez's main arsenal is that fastball that he finishes really nicely, so he's got some comeback action. Good hard over the top breaking ball, whether he calls it a curve or a slider. Occasionally throws a changeup, but not very often. At one time he was one of the harder throwers in the league.
Ran that pitch in on Hosmer, and it's popped up to Votto. That's out number 1 in the San Diego 8th. Spangenberg has moved into the on-deck circle. That's a pitcher spot next. So that'll be 1 inning of 2 hits and 2 runs, couple of solo home runs allowed by Ginter. 0-1 to Will Myers. Breaking ball waved at and missed to get ahead 0-2. Remains 1-2 to Myers.
That looked like that one right off the home plate umpire Sam Holbrook.
Yep. Wake up call. 1 ball, 2 strikes again to Myers. And hooked into left field. Boy, he hadn't hit either ball hard enough to break that proverbial plane of glass. But Myers has 2 hits, has been on base 3 times tonight.
Well, he got out ahead of that breaking ball. Looks like Hernandez got it up just a little bit. Kind of flips it down the left field line.
So here is Spangenberg, and he looks at ball 1. .236 batters, 7 home runs, 24 runs batted in. Runner at second with 1 out. Threw that one right by him at 94 miles per hour to get ahead of the ball and 2 strikes. Spangenberg now 2 for 25 as a pinch hitter this season.
I just didn't see this ball coming out of Hernandez's hand. That's a 2-seamer. Look at the run on that pitch. Freezes the pinch hitter. Hernandez is one of those that really stretches the envelope there as far as where your foot is on the pitching rubber. He goes all the way to the very far first base side. And the reason he does that is that it helps that same pitch that he saw, or that we saw him strike out the last batter on. Little two-seamer that he starts inside. He gets as far over towards first base as possible to get him a good angle on that pitch, because that pitch is his bread and butter. Little two-seamer that he starts off the plate and comes back in, just gives you an extra foot or so of angle.
The best night in the very, 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 very young career of Mr. Mejia. Making his first start tonight as a Padre, made a pinch hitting appearance in Arizona before they came here to Cincinnati. And he has 2 home runs and 4 runs batted in. His first 2 home runs as a major leaguer. You just look at him, he does not look like a catcher. Not a real big guy, strong guy, you can tell that. Built more like a middle infielder. 0-2 pitch. Hernandez ahead of the ball and 2 strikes. Got him swinging to end the inning. Well, what a year Hernandez is having. 1 hit, 1 left. Reds will bat in the 8th, trailing 6-2. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota, for over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Reds have 6 outs to play with, and they trail by 4. 6-2 game. And again, the Padres are going to their bullpen. Local product, originally with the Washington Nationals, is Craig Stammen.
Versailles High School, Versailles, Ohio, and University of Dayton. So he pitched for the Flyers before he started his professional career.
And he makes his year-round home. At least he has the last couple of winters. I don't know if he did this past winter, but for a number of winters when he's been pitching in the big leagues, he's lived right here in Cincinnati and worked out here all winter long. Peraza 3-hit game, and this time he lifts one into right, so they retire him for the first time tonight.
At the very beginning of the game tonight, you know, when he exchanged lineup cards, I saw that it was Mark McGwire, one of the coaches for the Padres, coming out there to exchange, and Jim Riggleman on the other side. And I wonder if Sam Holbrook and McGwire had anything to talk about, because if you go all the way back to 1998 in August, when at the peak of McGwire's hitting home runs, it was Sam Holbrook that ejected in the very first inning Mark McGwire and Tony La Russa over a called third strike. And the game was halted then for 10 minutes as fans at Busch Stadium in St. Louis just threw trash on the field, and they refused basically to calm down to the point. And it was McGwire that came into the paper the next day and said, you know, you shouldn't have heat on the umpire. He's got a job to do. I have a job to do. And it was Holbrook, who was in his very first year as a major league umpire, you know, that said that the farthest thing from his mind was ever to want to even eject McGwire, especially at that time when McGwire was, you know, bigger than life in St. Louis. But they basically gave him no choice. Beer sales were cut off at that inning. Security had to usher some of the fans out of the stadium. There was more trash throwing after a play in the 5th inning. And the very next day, Cardinal broadcaster Jack Buck, there was a day in which they were going to honor Jack Buck, and he said in his speech that yesterday was one of the darkest days in Cardinal history. And when the men in blue take the field, I want you to welcome them with respect.
First class all the way. And by the way, 20 years ago yesterday is when McGwire hit number 60 off Dennis Reyes. That was that year, the magical year, really, when the case can be made that baseball at that particular time was virtually brought back from the dead. They had canceled the World Series 3 years before, after the the labor management problem. They canceled the World Series in 1994. Remember, in 1995, the Reds, in fact, played in the National League Championship Series that year, and the upper deck at Riverfront Stadium wasn't even sold out. People were really down on baseball. The game did not have a national television contract. They basically formed their own network, which no one was watching. And it was the home run race of McGwire and Sosa in that 1998 season that brought back some fans, many fans, to Major League Baseball. And you can think what you will about what McGwire did or how he got there or how he did it, whatever you want. I think it's always safe to say that the one thing about McGwire is that he's always been a very thoughtful and stand-up guy. I mean, he answered the questions when the questions ultimately, at first he did not. Very evasive. But ever since then, and he said he had to do it for his own sake, just to clear his conscience.
He hit that home run, I remember that night, off a Big Sweat. Dennis Reyes, one of the best nicknames Jack McKeon ever dropped on somebody.
Tapper in a hole at short. Long throw by Galvis, and enough time to get Suarez in a 1-2-3-8 for Stammen in a homecoming for him here tonight.
Tomorrow for Reds Live, the pregame edition presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Chris Welsh will join me and co-host tomorrow as we get you set for Game 2 of the 4-game series between the Reds and the San Diego Padres. And tomorrow's starters, Brett Kennedy, in his 6th start of the season for San Diego, goes up against Anthony DeSclafani. He's been pitching so much better in his last 10 starts, 16 starts. He's 7-4 with a .437. Don't forget, we've got the new start time. It's a 6:40 game, so we get things started at 6 o'clock with Reds Live. You can watch us right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Stream us on Fox Sports Go. Tom?
All righty, Pick. Look forward to that tomorrow night. Big fireworks show after the game. And Jared Hughes takes over on the mound. Hernandez and Hughes getting a little work here tonight.
You always walk that fine line as a manager when you're trying to get your relief pitchers just enough work to stay sharp, but not so much that they get too tired. So when you do need them in a tight ball game, they're there and ready to go. So tune-up inning for Hernandez and hopefully a nice easy tune-up inning here for Jared Hughes.
Well, the Reds will not have an off day until a week from today. They have this 4-game series against San Diego, followed by 3 against the Dodgers, and an off day. Only 3 more of those the rest of the year. 13th, 24th, and 27th. Served into left field. Shot out there by Galvis, a base hit. And you said you remember this home run, number 60 for McGuire, 20 years ago yesterday.
That was almost up there in Big Mac land. There he had an area up there that he used to just knock balls in batting practice off that wall and up into that area time after time after time.
Well, it was the greatest show on earth just watching McGuire taking batting practice every day. And how far he would hit balls as they get one, and out is the call at first base.
Don't see that happen very much. A 1-6-4-3 double play.
They may look at this.
Yep, and they're going to make the official request for the review. That one's no problem. Margot's going to be safe.
And it is a fielder's choice. It goes 1-6-4. Pitcher, shortstop, second baseman. Runner safe at first base. Jankowski up there for the 5th time tonight. Has struck out, fly to left, singled, stole a base, and put down a sacrifice in the 7th inning, which led to a run. For the first time since about 45 minutes before the game, we are starting to get a light rainfall, and that was in the forecast tonight that we could see a pop-up shower. Not expecting heavy rain, at least that's what was predicted. We're hoping that is the case. One out, one on, 2 balls and a strike on Jankowski. And Hughes a pause and delivers to the plate. In the air to left, playable for Urban, out number 2. Urias 0 for 3, a sac fly run batted in on a fly ball to left in the 7th inning. Crowd, of course, hoping the Reds pitching can pick up one more strikeout here in this one. So for the 14,303, they would pick up a free pizza. And 1 on Urias, and now 0-2.
Now the fans here at the ballpark are hoping for a strikeout for the final out in this inning. It would be 11 on the night.
Yes, indeed.
And that's a magic number around here.
Yes, it is. And they got it. Oh, out of the glove of Barnhart. Too bad. See if he can still pick up the 3rd strike on Urias here. Didn't miss by much. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Got him swinging. Little late night pizza never hurt anybody. Highly endorsed.
join us here on the set down at third baseline if you're here, or keep watching on TV. It's Reds Live, the post-game edition. And that, of course, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Come on down and see us all down here at the beautiful condo. You'll stay dry down here. We'll have highlights. We'll talk to Jim Riggleman and so much more. And Joel is here to entertain you. Rufus will be here. We'll have a blast. So come on down and join us for Reds Live immediately following tonight's game. Tom, we'd love to have you sometime come down and join us as well.
Well, tonight won't be the night pick, but perhaps before this season is over. Got to get up way too early in the morning.
Oh, that's true. Good luck this weekend, by the way.
You too, and you got a big game. The Wildcats take on the Gators this weekend. Is that right?
At the Swamp, and I think we got a good chance, my friend.
Well, I'm wishing you good luck.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely. Well, it is not a safe situation with a 4-run lead, but the man who's taken over as their closer since the trade of hand is Kirby Yates. Very good numbers. League hitting .188 against him. Urban to lead things off against Yates. 2 balls and no strikes, and a big swing and a miss. Stammen works a 1-2-3 inning. Yates no spring chicken. It's not like all of a sudden he's a guy that you know, is in his early 20s like many of these San Diego pitchers in that bullpen. He's been around a while, going all the way back to 2009. Signed by the Tampa Bay Rays. He was undrafted after electing not to sign, drafted 4 years prior by the Boston Red Sox. He's bounced around to Tampa, Cleveland, the Yankees, the Angels, claimed off waivers by the Padres, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, they use him for 61 games, and he did a great job for them last year. 3.7 ERA. 31 years old.
Yeah, struck out 87 in just a little over 50 innings, so he had the strikeout pitching going. Early in his career, he had a tough time staying healthy. Missed 2 consecutive years after having Tommy John surgery. Young man that was born in Lihue, Hawaii. Went to high school in Kauai. I'd volunteer to go over there on a scouting trip.
Yes, indeed. Fouled back out of play. Yates, born and raised, still makes his home there in Hawaii. Is one of 4 active players hailing from the Aloha State.
Well, his brother Tyler, was it Tyler? I believe so. Also played in the major leagues.
Yes, he did. Schebler, the batter, with 1 gone here in the Cincinnati 9th inning. Swing and a miss. Dielson Herrera next. Padres trying to win their 56th game against 86 losses. The Reds trying to avoid an 82nd loss against 59 wins. But not a lot of time left. Schebler, a long home run, one of the longest home runs we've seen from a left-handed batter at Great American Ballpark this season. Out there over the PNC power stacks in right center field on a 98-mile-per-hour fastball. Just right there. Long home run. Schebler with 14 of them now this season, and of course he's missed a lot of playing time, well over a month and a half with that injured shoulder. And there's 2 down in the inning, and the Reds are down to their final out.
Boy, a nasty little pitch right there. He's thrown that a couple of times already in this inning. Got Schebler to strike out on it. It was a split finger fastball. Nice location.
Three more to go in this series in a 3-game set against the Dodgers. Braves and Diamondbacks will be getting underway any minute now. Only a total of 4 games all over Major League Baseball on this Thursday. Nationals lead the Cubbies. That game now in the bottom of the 7th inning, 4-3. Game-changing play came off the bat of Herrera back in that 4th inning. Reds had the bases loaded, hit a line drive, and a spectacular catch made out there by Hunter Renfroe, preventing the Reds from scoring at least 2, maybe 3 if that ball rolls by him after the diving attempt. And of course, all of this here tonight just trying to at least give us a slight respite from everything that went on here in Cincinnati today, and we talked about it from the very beginning. It's the kind of thing, no matter where you live, you read about it happening somewhere else, in a mass shooting in Fountain Square, and the incredible job as the details came out by the Cincinnati police, the first responders, but especially the police. What occurred here today very much could have led to dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of people losing their lives, and tragically there were people who lost their lives today and loved ones who won't be with us. And our thoughts and prayers to all those families and friends of those who lost their lives today in Cincinnati. 6-2 our final score. Padres win it. Reds Live is coming up next. You're watching Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.